Okay, my friends, another day of shocker du jours. This is an eyeball. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to show you the details that are pretty convincing. It's up to you to make your own determination. It's called the oculus. It's in Portugal. And one of my subscribers sent me this information today. Him and his son, who was 11 years old, God bless them both, they're working at this together, you know, trying to understand reality. And boy, I wish I had that chance to do it back when my kids were younger. I just came across this about 15 years ago, so they're pretty well grown up now, and I didn't have the time. And now they're not really that interested. You lose your inquisitiveness as you become indoctrinated by academia. They say, this is the way it is, and you better say it the same way we tell you or we'll fail you. So what do? You have to go along with the crowd. Now, I know this kid is 11 years old, and he's in for some, you know, he understands, and he's seen, and his father's working with him, and he will know, and he'll know the truth. But the truth may not be as comfortable as you would expect it to be. So I'm hoping for the best for this outcome, because you know, it is coming around. I can see 15 years ago I was just a total pariah. I was just dismissed by literally 100% of humanity. And now it's coming around. I can see this changing as we go. And he's one of the first of his generation to understand reality. And once you embrace reality and you have the strength, the inner strength, to say, this is real, I'm not going to turn around from this. You could laugh at me all day long. I'm not going to turn around. And once you realize that it's real, you can't turn around. You can't unsee. You can't say, okay, that's it. You're right. I was wrong. There's too many of you to fight. No. You have to go with what reality is. Now, I'm going to show you, I'm quite certain this is literally an eyeball. It's in Portugal. I'm going to show you this, and we'll get into some more details uno momento. Okay, a little bit of anatomy goes a long way. Hyaloid canal is right in there between the vitreous bodies. These are where you have the suspensory ligaments of the lens. They pull these things back in and out, and these are the lenses. Up here, this little colored spot is the iris. That's gone. We see every bit of this, 100% of that. It couldn't be any more perfect. These are right below these ligaments. Symmetrical as can possibly be, and the hyaloid canal certainly looks symmetrical to me. It's exactly in the center between the two, and that little spot right there I think is a different color. Now somebody would have to go on site and look at that to see, but to me it looks like a different color, and I would expect that if it was a canal in between two oppositional areas like that. I don't know though. I have to look at it and see. Okay, it's not too complicated. These are all the lenses of the eye, all these different layers, and they're controlled by these little straps. And the muscle is here on the sides. Your iris is here. This is gone. And you're looking through the sunlight down below to the vitreous humor, the vitreous body. All right, so let's take a look at the eye over in Portugal. We know we have all these lenses. We can see all those different layers going around. That's not an issue. We know we have a hole right in the center, which is the iris. Issue resolved. Now, what happens here? Can we see any of this? Can we see any of these straps? I think we can. Okay, so what actual evidence is there that this is an eyeball? Well, first of all, if you look up how many layers of tissue there is in an eyeball, it'll say 3. That's completely crazy. There is hundreds and hundreds of layers, one upon another. Now, they break it up into 3 sections, but every section has literally hundreds of layers. Now, all of those layers can move just a little bit to give you the depth and so forth. You see over here, let's look at this carefully. And let's look at this carefully. All right, we're seeing perfectly round, just patterns. Now let's look closely at these patterns and see if we can make any determination how thick they are, how many layers there might be, what the different chemistry is there some kind of different patterning in certain areas, and why would that be? Let's check it out. All right, let's start with the most obvious things. There's 2 holes here. Very symmetrical, extremely symmetrical. Now, what is this? I claim this is a strap. And what is this? I claim that is a strap as well, both sides. And what do? They pull the layers of tissue to make you focus. Let's look at them closely. There's some patterning there that you have to really look close at these things. You can't just give a quick look and say, oh, yeah. Most people say, oh, no. Now, look at that. What would cause that? It's not anywhere else. What would cause these look to me like they're little bundles coming up to there? What does it look like to you? All right, and look at all these little, I mean, there's so many layers here. 3 layers is just insanity. Every one of these layers has so many layers you couldn't believe it. And this right here, this to me is the interface between the little tuggers that tug and make your eyeball open up and close up. I mean, it's not hard to see, and it's exactly in the same place on the other side. There's no difference whatsoever. None. 0. You see how little, same thing. Exactly the same, only on those 2 sides. If you look up here at the roof, it's not like that up there. It's not like that at the bottom. This is extremely well patterned if you take your time to think about it. And that is where I believe they call it the iris. Washed away, caved in, whatever, it's gone. These layers of tissue, you have so many layers of tissue in your body, it's just staggering and unknown. They know there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 layers, you know, the epidermis, the dermis, the this, the that. Well, in each one of those layers, there's literally hundreds and hundreds of layers. And this I have discovered from my mud fossils, and it's undeniable. Okay, when they talk about layers of tissue, they're not talking about the actual layers of tissue. They're talking about regions of tissue. And in every one of those regions, there's literally hundreds and hundreds, and sometimes thousands of layers that comprise that, because this is from a mud fossil, and this is from tissue that should be see-through. All right, and that shows you how many layers. And then if you put that in a microscope, which I have, you see that every one of those tiny little lines has divisions in it as well. And this is the fluid-filled highway. That region there is where the lymph flows, right below the skin. So this would be the skin. In this case, it's like a fatty. And then you have a membrane which is below the skin, and that membrane separates the world from you down here. And that has the fluid-filled highway, and you can see some blood servicing here, a little bit. This is a membrane, and it's phospholipids, and there's many layers. So don't say there's like 3 layers. No, you can see this coloration right here. This coloration right here. That's basically the membrane, which includes the fluid-filled highway, which wasn't known about until recently. So anyway, there's a zillion layers. Let's just get past that. So thank you, Mr. Block, and that came from my good friend Greg Morrison. I think he's down in Tennessee or somewhere. But anyway, remember we got these little, we're ripped off. They're broken off, these little chunks. Now what else can we look at? I would look up here, up at these little bumps here at the top, and look at these layered regions here and see if we can find any, I don't have good shots of this. All I have is what they're publishing here, and this was by John. And I guess that was today. And the beautiful thing about doing the research that I do is I have researchers all over the world. Now, the guy that sent me this and his son are just as much of a researcher as anybody at Yale or Harvard or anywhere. They're just as accomplished, but now they're looking and they're finding the things that nobody knew about before. So they are the actual true researchers now. Now you see all this little stuff going on in here? I mean, this is just a lot of activity here. And these 2 holes, I don't think they're accidental. I think they're there because of being just below this strap. And because it has to move. I think this is correct, and it's just unbelievable. You see this little division here? And remember, we got the straps coming up here on both sides. We've got the oculus, which is all the different layers. We're missing the iris. And we've got 2 holes, one here and one over here leading out. And then we also have this divot here. I mean, it's incredible. All right, I've gone over this before. This is those little tuggers. And these are right underneath them because they have to move. They're going to be moving. So this is going to have some different chemistry than the hard stuff. Now look at this. Look at this. Right in the middle of the 2. Right in the middle of the 2. Don't forget, we're seeing the strap here, the strap here. I believe that's what I'm seeing. And right in the middle, we're seeing this. The iris, which is an easy thing to removed, like the lens, gone. And there's what you have. I mean, it's just staggering how exactly, look, a leg basically, which is down here, the cut right here, which is the cut right here, the straps coming up here on both sides, straps and straps. The iris is just missing. There's the straps coming in, both sides, we see them. There's all the different layers, we see them. The iris is missing, we see that. And then we see this little divot here, because things have to move. And you got this vitreous body, which is gooey, and it's laying in the ocean, somewhere like around here. And we can see this little divot, and we see both of these going, and the whole thing is there. It's just what how can you miss it, really, when you look at it and you take your time to look at things? That's what I'm hoping these kids will do now. They'll take their time and they'll listen to what they're being told. I'm not saying don't listen. I'm saying question it. Just ask, does that make sense? Does this little stuff here make sense that it's right in the middle of that strappy stuff? And same thing on this side. And then you have these exact, I mean, it's so perfect, it's just unbelievable. And then you have that same architecture that's in the body of an eye. I know there's more things that we could do here to test it, look up in the iris area. But, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's, to me, it just can't be denied. And these are all the tiny little bitty layers that they really don't, if you look it up, it'll say there's 3 layers in the eye. That's it. Well, no. It's incredible having so far of a reach that I have now. It's worldwide. And people see these things that they have been denied their whole life. And they're being laughed at now, and they send them to me. And there will be no laughing, shortly. This is a serious stuff. And it changes, literally, virtually everything that I was taught about our history, archaeology, anthropology, the universe, God, mythology. I mean, just, you got to look at everything back again, start over again. Start to think, what are we really looking at here, and what does it mean? What does it mean? I mean, it's marvelous. You will marvel. And there's just sayings that'll say, when you find out the truth, you're going to be disturbed, and then you will marvel. Well, I was disturbed, and I'm still marveling. You can't help but marvel. You see this stuff? And it's undeniable once you can get your mind in the correct attitude to look at what you're actually seeing. It's in front of your eyes, but if your eyes can't see, it doesn't matter. It could be just nothing there. And that's what I have found from people that don't want to see. Because you can't unsee this. You just cannot unsee this. So I appreciate, the guy's name is Brian. I'm not sure what his son's name is, but I would like to say to his son, thank you, my good little friend. You have a marvelous life in front of you. Because you already know more than anybody. Virtually anybody. I'm not kidding you. It's amazing how quickly these things can be dismissed. And he's not dismissing, and that's fabulous. And he saw Quetzalcoatl, and his father said that it was a magical moment they'll never forget. And I imagine that's true, because he's doing a report on the Mesoamerican culture, Mayans and so forth, I believe. I don't want to cut too much into that. I just want to tell you that he saw Quetzalcoatl, and boom, you can't miss it. Now, I think I have found the other eye that goes along with this. I'm almost positive. Because you see this dark stuff here? That dark stuff is totally different than this. So a plant that'll grow in there won't grow there. A plant that'll grow here won't grow there. It's something in the chemistry of the soils. And that's why Quetzalcoatl is so perfectly laid out there. Absolutely perfect. And I mean, there's just no missing it. You remember I talked about things won't grow on certain types of soils and things will grow on other soils. Well, that's how Quetzalcoatl is so easy to see. This color is the color of his head, which apparently is some kind of different chemistry than the feathers of his body. The feathers grow very, very green, and these are the feathers of his headdress. And this is his shoulder area up here. It's all raised up, the Appalachian Mountain area. And then the feathers go all the way down his body to back here. Now, Brian said when his son and him saw this, they just freaked out, and it was a never going to be able to forget moment. That's kind of heartwarming. But I need to do another video about this because it changes a lot of things. And we're going to have to talk about that. But you see how how green this is and how raised up that is. That's Quetzalcoatl. Now, the next video is going to be pretty interesting. I would suggest that you keep your eye on it. All right, Roger, over and out. I love you all. Bye. All right, if you know anything about the Mayans and the Mesoamericans in general, I really don't know that much. I have to be perfectly honest with you. I know about the feathered serpent, Kukulkan, I think some of them called him, Quetzalcoatl. He goes by different names, different cultures. I believe, could be wrong, but this is from the ancient glyphs that this is what they drew him as, and eating a gigantic human, apparently, because when we see him, he's gigantic. Now, that's pretty obvious. What we're seeing right here is the same thing. And even his beards. You see the two beards coming down? Mississippi River is his throat. And this is his green headdress. It's quite apparent what we have here is Quetzalcoatl. Now, this is pretty hard for the average person to accept. But we have to look at it in reality because of all the other things I've discovered. They're all gigantic creatures. And Jesus Christ said, when you discover the world, you discover a corpse. And these are corpses everywhere. And he also said somewhere, you'll discover a body, the body. And the first words they said in the Bible was there were giants in the earth in those days. These are pretty big giants. And the earth is made out of something. I can tell you right now, it's made out of gigantic creatures. And I have found nothing that is not biological. Not a single thing. So the next video is going to be about, well, you'll see what it's going to be about, but it's important to watch it. Okay, my friends, a couple of things just fell on me. Like, I need to do another video about the repercussions of this. And, oops, eyeballs are not that uncommon. There is more than one eyeball here and there. And, oops, they keep sending me these things. Was Hawking right? Confirms black holes never shrink. Dark matter is dark matter. That's dipole electron flood theory. You got to look that up too. Not a single thing we've been taught is correct. Now, how does mainstream handle this? This just dropped on me like a bomb, and I said, whoa, I got to think this one over. And it's going to require another video.